In this video, I'll share the 3 stocks which are on my radar with regards to a bullish squeeze signal. What I mean by this is we have a squeeze that's forming, likely to fire long, and I think that squeeze is going to fire sooner than later. These 3 stocks are Altria Group, Southern Co, and Duke Energy. Let's take a look at all 3 on our charts. I've loaded in our Squeeze Signals Backtester so we can get some real insights, some real data on how the strategy has performed over the past 20 plus years. In the case of Altria Group, the strategy has won 35 times, lost 6 times. So 35 out of 41 trades have been winners. Really nice win rate. However, the average win has been 4.4%, while the average loss has been a little bit more than twice that, negative 9.9%. So while you do have fewer losers, the average winners times the frequency wins out more often than not, but you want to be somewhat quicker to cut your losers, if you will. That's what I'm learning from this. Let's see if instead of getting out when the squeeze fires, you try to ride the momentum. Now, what happened here is we increased the number of losers. However, we've now also more or less gotten closer to evening out our win and loss. What that means is if I was to load in our triple squeeze indicator, when we say we're riding out the momentum, we're waiting to essentially ride out the squeeze once it fires all the way up until we see this first bar in which that momentum is starting to decrease, this dark blue bar. So if you were to use that as your exit instead, you're able to at least mitigate some of those losses a little bit and help even out the strategy. If you were to compare this on a P&L basis, 2674 versus, if we come back to no squeeze, 1984. So that gives you an idea that even though you take on 4 additional losers, your overall net P&L on that strategy actually comes out ahead by riding out the momentum inside of the squeeze. So that's one way to use the backtester. Next up, we had Southern Co. Let's repeat this exercise. So inside of Southern Co here, first off, look at this P&L graph. It doesn't look all that enticing. It's not really a strategy that you'd really even care to trade. It doesn't look compelling enough. If I was to switch this to losing momentum, now we start to see a P&L that's at least moving a little bit more, 1583 positive, 13 winners, or 30 winners, 13 losers, average winner 3.52%, average loser negative 4.51%. So seeing a similar theme to what we just saw inside of our first company that we looked at, Altria Group. Now we take a look at our last ticker, which is Duke Energy. Now, Duke Energy looks really enticing from the chart because we bounced into our fib levels, bouncing up from there. And if we were to use this as a roadmap, we now have access to our fib extensions. So if we were to draw those out, we have 125 and 131 up ahead as some potential target areas for this trade. This trade also wins fairly often, 36 winners, 7 losers. Average winner 3.61%, average loser negative 6.16%. And that's if we ride out the momentum. If instead you get out as soon as the squeeze fires, you'll see that the strategy doesn't perform anywhere close to as well as it did as if you actually rode out the momentum. I hope this video helps to give you an idea for all of our Volatility Box members for how you can use the Squeeze Signals Backtester to really run the scan. These are the Squeeze Signals scans. Find a list of stocks and then analyze these stocks to determine which strategy, which particular strategy do you like, if any, and how and where do you want to take your entry. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading. For all Volatility Box members, I'll leave a link to download all of the squeeze tools, including the backtesters, the scan, and the indicators that we discussed in today's video. Take care, and I'll see you in our next update.